Welcome to Beat the Number. This is the top betting picks and plays for our NBA morning edition. As we try to get ahead of the number and beat the betting markets on Monday, February the 10th. My name's Abby. We have a slate of NBA games to get through on this NBA morning edition. First game we're going to get is Minnesota at Cleveland. As you can see on our oddslogic.com board with the NBA games, it's showing 7.5, the opening number, total 227.5. Now you see it come, you see the yellow highlighter there. It's at 9, -9 now. That's the current number, and it's at 227.5. So currently -9, total 227.5. That's Minnesota at Cleveland. So we're gonna go here and check the history of these games, or the previous matchups for these two teams. That's Minnesota at Cleveland. So you see the first matchup here. They did play last month. That's January the 18th, as you can see. It was in Minnesota. Cleveland favored by 5. Total is 227. And Cleveland won that game, the first matchup, 124-117. It was over 227. So this is the second and final matchup. So last 10 games for Minnesota against other opposition, 8-2. Last 10 games. And 3-2 to the over. That's Minnesota's. And Minnesota has won 3 straight games. They've won all three games they've won at home. Now they hit the road they hit the road for one game. It's a one-game road trip. That's it. Cleveland, 6-4 last 10 games, 4-6 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. Cleveland off a 2-game road trip. They had won 2 straight. They won at Detroit and, at Washington. And right now they are 3-2 to the over as well. So both teams playing to the over. First game went over the total. I like the over here. I agree with the line here. Over 227.5. I like the over here. I think it'll be a repeat of the first matchup. The market's moving correctly, and I like the over here. Let's look into this further. I know it's a bit early, but we'll check it out. Let's look at the early line to see where the public's at. Check the public action, and it's showing the public is on Cleveland. The public is on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I also agree with the line move at 9. I like Cleveland here as well to cover the 9 points and the over. So both 8.5 Cleveland or -9 Cleveland. I like both. I think they get the job done at home. I like that here a lot. Now I will check the injury report as well, because Odds Logic, they do the latest up-to-date line movements and totals, over-unders. Now we're going to check the injury report as well at the same time. Get an update on the status of both teams. Starting with the Cleveland Cavaliers. DeAndre Hunter, acquired in a trade, is available to play. He's going to make his debut Monday night versus Minnesota. Dean Wade out indefinitely. For Minnesota, the Timberwolves, we have Anthony Edwards. Hip is questionable for tonight's game. Mike Conley, finger, questionable to play Monday. Julius Randle, groin, is out. Dante DiVincenzo is out. So that's the injury status there. I like Cleveland here, regardless. -8.5, -9. I like the Cavaliers. Next game here is San Antonio at Washington. Washington opened up as -11-point favorites. It opened up at 235. Let me get to the screen just one moment. Yeah, so San Antonio at Washington. As you can see, it's -11, the opening number, total 235. Right now it's at 11.5. Right now, current number 11.5, total 236.5. I'll also look into this. Public right now is on, for the number move, they are on San Antonio. Public like San Antonio, 11.5 right at this moment. They're on San Antonio. Let me brighten the screen a little bit so you guys can see properly. Yeah, so the public is on San Antonio at 11.5, as you can see there. The total, public's on the over 236.5. Let's look at the history between these two teams. That's San Antonio and Washington. So we'll take a look at this game here. They did play early last year, beginning of the season, November 13th in San Antonio. Spurs were 9.5-point favorites. Washington covered the 9.5, but San Antonio won 139-130. Totals at 224.5. San Antonio last 10 games, 3-7 last 10, 4-6 against the spread, 8-2 to the over. Spurs have lost 2 straight games. They're on a long road trip. This is the 5th game on the road trip. They are 1-3 on the road trip, so Spurs are desperate for a win. They're 1-5 last 5 games and are 3-2 to the over. Let's see. Washington, meanwhile, 3-7 last 10 games, 5-5 against the spread, 5-5 to the over. Washington's also lost 2 straight games. They're 3-2 last 5 games, and they are 3-2 to the over as well. They had covered 3 straight games, but they lost the last 2. Lost to Cleveland, but covered the 17.5. So they have been covering the double-digit spreads. They covered Minnesota on the road, covered Cleveland at home, covered Phoenix on the road. So Washington's been playing pretty hard. San Antonio on the road, you haven't covered a spread at all on the road. I know the public's on San Antonio in this game, but to me this is a look-ahead spot because they have Boston next. They lost to the Celtics. I think they played them earlier this year. No, they played them last year. They played them a year ago, so they got Boston on deck. The Boston game for San Antonio is on the 12th of February. So that matchup's on Wednesday. It's a Wednesday matchup. So I like Washington here to cover the points. I like Washington plus 11.5. So I'm going to disagree with the public. I know the public's on a bit of the money early on was on Washington, but with this latest move, the public's on San Antonio to cover. But I disagree. I think Washington covers the spread here plus 11.5, and I like the over. I like the over 236.5. That's what I'm seeing right now. 236. Yeah, 236.5. I like the over in Washington in that game. Next game I'm going to look at. Oh, let's check the injury report. Forgot about that. Let's check the injury report for this game as well. Keep forgetting to check that. I got to check that. So on the San Antonio side, there's no injuries. They're pretty clean lineup. Washington, Marcus Smart acquired in the trade. Questionable to play Monday versus San Antonio, so he may or may not play. It's 50-50. I'm going to guess that he's going to play. Alexandre Sarr, questionable to play Monday as well. Chris Middleton, questionable to play Monday. I think Middleton's going to play. That's my guess. Keyshawn George, ankle, questionable to play. Sadiq Bey, questionable to play. So my guess is Marcus Smart is going to play. I'm going to guess that he's going to play. I believe he will play. And Chris Middleton's going to play. I think both those guys are going to play on Monday. So I like Washington, like I said. I like them here to cover the points. We're going to go to the next game. Let's get to the next game here. Yeah, so the next game we're going to look at here, Atlanta at Orlando. This one's -5 Orlando, total 222. Now we're seeing it go to, we're seeing 5.5. 5.5 on FanDuel, BetMGM. It's starting to move to 5.5 in some books. And the total here is 221.5. That's the consensus, 221.5. We're going to get the injury report here for both these teams. That's Atlanta at Orlando. So first we'll check the injury report here for the Atlanta Hawks. So Atlanta, Clint Capella, he is out. Sorry, questionable, excuse me. Let me just clear that up. Questionable to play Monday. At Orlando, Jalen Johnson out. On the Orlando side for the Magic, Jalen Suggs, he's going to be out of the lineup, downgraded to not playing on Monday, so he's out of the lineup. Martez Wagner out for the season. So we're going to look into this matchup head to head. That's Orlando hosting Atlanta. That's a 7 o'clock start. So we'll look at this one here. So this is the first meeting of the season between these two teams. They have not played this season or this year. Atlanta against other opposition, 3-7 last 10 games, 7-3 against the spread, 5-5 to the over. Atlanta's put together 2 straight wins. They won at Milwaukee, they covered the +2.5 and won at Milwaukee. 115-110. Then they won at home against Milwaukee. Then they beat Washington on the road as a -7. They covered 125-111. So they covered that game. Now the 2-game winning streaks because the Hawks are playing some defense. I know Atlanta's playing some defense now. So the last 2 games have gone under. I noticed that here. Hawks are on a 2-game road trip. And they got Orlando first meeting of the season. Then Wednesday they're in New York. They got to play the Knicks. Now on the Orlando side, 3-7 last 10, 2-8 against the spread, 4-6 to the under. Orlando 2-3 last 5 games, and are 2-3 to the under. So Orlando playing the under, Atlanta playing the under. So in this game here, both teams are playing to the under at their current form. Atlanta 2 straight unders. Orlando 2-3 to the under. And head to head, these 2 teams historically have played to the under. So the last 3 meetings have gone to the under. So everything correlates to the under in this game. I like the under. Atlanta, Orlando. Under 220. We're seeing 221.5. I like the under in this game. Under 221. I'm seeing 221.5. Atlanta, Orlando. That's my play. I don't have a play on the side, just the total. That's it for that one. Okay, so the next game we're going to look at here, it's going to be Charlotte, Brooklyn. I don't have anything on this game. I'm going to pass on this game. Nothing here for that game. Instead, we're going to look at Boston and Miami. That's the next game we're going to look at. Boston, Miami. -6 is the opening number, as you can see. Total is 220.5, as you can see there. Just one moment. Something's in the way. I don't know why it's in the way. Okay, so Boston, Miami. Boston's -6. They open up at -6. Total 220.5. As you can see now, it's dropped to 5.5. So we're seeing 5.5 mainly across the board. That's what we're getting. And the total is 218.5. This is what we're seeing right now. We are seeing some 219s that are popping up. But mainly its consensus is 218.5. So we're going to go to the injury report in this game. That's Boston, Miami. For the Celtics, Chris Porzingis. Illness is upgraded to available to play Monday. He will be playing Monday at Miami. Jason Tatum, knee questionable to play Monday at Miami. Jaylen Brown, knee questionable to play Monday at Miami as well. Jrue Holiday, shoulder questionable to play Monday as well. Miami for the Heat. Drew Smith out for the season. All right, so we'll take a look at this game here. It's Boston, Miami. Let's look at this one here. Look at the history of this game. So head to head, they already played once this season. That's late last year. They played at Boston. Boston was a 9.5 point favorite. Total was 220. Boston won 108-89. They covered the 9.5. It was under 220. So Boston last 10 games against other opposition, 7-3. Last 10, 4-6 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. So Boston, they've won 4 out of 5 games. Yeah, they won 4 out of 5 games, and they are 4-1 to the over. Boston. As for the Miami Heat, their last 10 games, 5-5. Last 10, 4-6 against the spread, and 5-5 to the over/under. Let's see. So they're off a 4-game road trip. So they're kind of in a sandwich spot here a little bit. They're off the 4-game road trip, home for 1 game, back on the road for 3 games. Yeah, that's not good. Miami 2-3 to the under. So both teams I see here are playing to the under. Miami's playing to the over. Boston's playing to the over. Miami's playing to the under. First game went under 220. The second game has gone down to 219. I'm going to say, to me, this game here, Boston's beaten them already. I'm going to say this game is a look-ahead game for Boston. They do have San Antonio on Wednesday. They have to play them in 2 days. So I'm going to take Miami in this spot. This is a sandwich spot from Boston, in my opinion. This is a sandwich spot for Boston here. I gotta take Miami here plus the 5.5. It's come down to 5.5 now, right? Yeah, I'll take Miami here. I like the Heat. Boston's looking at to San Antonio. Boston's already beaten up Miami already this season. So the only way I can look Miami plus the 5.5 has come down now, as I'm seeing. And I gotta take Miami plus the 5.5, and I like the under to, let me get the correct number here, under 219, under 219.5. I like the under in this game. I like the under, and the under 219.5, and I like Miami. It's come down to 5.5. I like the Heat here plus the 5.5. This is a look-ahead spot for Boston, like I said, and they got it San Antonio Wednesday. I know Miami's off. Normally I fade teams coming off a road trip like this, but in this situation, I'm gonna take the Heat to cover. I'm gonna take Miami here to cover the points. I like Miami in this spot, so plus 5.5 Miami for me. I like him here. Okay, so the next game we're going to look at, New Orleans at OKC. So this one here opened up 14.5, total 238.5. This one's come down now. It's come all the way down to 234.5. We're seeing 235. We're seeing 235.5 now, depending on where you shop. And we're seeing 16, so we're seeing 16s are starting to pop up, but mainly it's 15.5. We'll say 234.5, 235. I'll see around there. Let's see. That's the Pelicans and Oklahoma City. So OKC, the public's all over OKC, as you can see. They are all over OKC in this game. And the public's on the over in this game. So we will look into this game further. First, I'm going to look at the injury report. Injury report I will check out in this game. We're going to look here at the Oklahoma City side for the Thunder. So So on the OKC side, we have Cason Wallace. Shoulder is downgraded to being out for tomorrow's game. Luke Dort back. Questionable to play Monday, 50-50. For the Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, Achilles, is out for the season. Herb Jones out for the season. So we're going to look into this game further. That's the Pelicans and the OKC Thunder. They've already played twice already this season. They played early in the season last year, November 13th in OKC. The Thunder were 14.5-point favorites. The total is 225. And OKC won 106-88. And they covered, and it was under the total. Second meeting, December 7th in New Orleans. OKC -8. The Thunder won 119-109. It was over 222. So this is the third meeting now. This one, the total's gone up exponentially by about 12 points. So it's a big jump here. We'll get to that in a minute. We've already talked about that, but we'll look at the last 10 games for the Pelicans. Just one moment. So last 10 games for the Pelicans, 2-8 last 10. 3-6-1 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. So the Pelicans, they've lost 8 games in a row. They've lost 8 straight games. Yeah, they've lost 8 games in a row. They are on a 4-game road trip. This is the last game of the road trip that they're on. It's a weird schedule that they have. And then they got to, it's a weird schedule. Last game of the road trip, 0-5 on the road trip, 4-1 to the over. Pelicans playing no defense whatsoever. In the 5-game losing streak, they've covered 2 out of the 5 games. At least 2 out of the 5 games they've covered in the 5-game losing streak. OKC 8-2 last 10 games, 5-5 against the spread, 7-2-1 to the over. OKC has won 5 games in a row, and they've covered 4 out of the 5 games. 4 of them they've covered. 4 games they've covered. 3 games they've covered at home. 1 game on the road they covered, and they didn't cover against Toronto the last home game. So Pelicans they're on a mini 1-game road trip. They're back. Right now the Pelicans are 3-2 to the over right now. So both teams are playing to the over. The only way I can look in this game, from what I see, the only game I can look regarding this game, I can only look at the over the total. The Pelicans aren't playing any sort of defense whatsoever. It's like open season on New Orleans. So OKC can definitely take advantage here, and I like the over. I see the move here. It's 235.5, 234.5, 235.5, around that range. I like the over here. I got to take the over in this spot. Over 234.5. We'll see. I like the over here. And like I said, the public. I think I showed this earlier. The public is all over the over, so I have to agree with the public here. That's I like that. I like what they're doing, what they're saying. Next game here is going to be Golden State at Milwaukee. This one opened up -6, as you can see. Total 232.5, and right now we're looking at 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 has come up, so it's gone up by about 0.5 point. It's down to 231.5. 1.5. Let's see. Yep, 2. Actually, 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 231.5, 232. So, for some reason, the public's on Milwaukee in this game. I don't know why, but they're on Milwaukee. Let's look at the injury report first of all in this game. Let's take a look at this injury report on the Milwaukee side first, and Golden State's. Let's take a look at this. So on the Golden State side first, we're going to check. Steph Curry's questionable with a quad injury, so he's 50-50. As you can see. Yeah, so he's questionable with a quad injury. Jonathan Kuminga is out with an ankle injury. On the Milwaukee side for the Bucks. On the Milwaukee side. Pat Connaughton with a calf injury is questionable. Giannis with a knee, I believe he is out. Let me check. I think let me just see here. Let's see. Yeah, Giannis is out. The injury is out of the lineup. He's not going to be playing in this one. So, let's take a look here. Yes, so this game here, I know the public's on the over. Right now, the public's definitely on the over here. I'm gonna lean to the over, but it's not gonna be an official play because of Steph Curry. Steph Curry's 50-50 because of a quad injury, so I'm leaning to the over with the public. But it's 50-50 right now. I'm not sure. It's just a lean. We're gonna look into this game further. That's Golden State and Milwaukee. We'll look into this game and look at the past history. So this is the first meeting between these two teams. Golden State 5-5 last 10, 6-4 against the spread, 8-2 to the over. Golden State on a 6-game road trip. This is the 4th game of the road trip. They're 1-2 on the road trip. 2-3 last 5 games. 4-1 to the over. Milwaukee last 10. 4-6 last 10, 3-7 against the spread, 5-5 over under. Milwaukee 2-3 last 5 games, and are 2-3 to the under. Yeah, for now I'm gonna lean to the over. I agree with the public, but it's just a lean. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get there or not. This game's a very tricky game, so I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna get there. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. In the NBA props segment tomorrow, when we have the NBA props, I might have a play on this game. If not, I'll have a prop for sure on this game. So in the NBA props, player props, I'll let you know if I'm going to be on this game or not for the side or total, or for the props. I will let you know tomorrow. But for now, it's just a lean. Next game is Sacramento at Dallas. This one is 2.5 opening number, as you can see, and the total's 235.5. Right now, we're looking at the numbers come all the way down to 1. We are seeing some 1.5s, but it's mainly 1s that are coming up here. So that's 1, 237.5. That's the highlighted number there. That's 1. We're gonna check the injury report for this game. That's Sacramento and Dallas. Take a good look at this one. So Sacramento, Dallas. Sacramento's healthy, no injuries there. On the Dallas side, we know AD is out. What else is new? He seems to be in and out of the lineup more often than not. Let's see here. Let me fix this thing. Make sure it's up so you can see. I want you guys to see this thing here. Yes, so AD out. Dante Exum. Achilles is questionable to play Monday. PJ Washington, ankle, questionable to play Monday. Dwight Powell, hip, questionable to play Monday. Caleb Martin, growing, out indefinitely. Derek Lively II, foot, out. So that's it for this guy. That's it for the Dallas Sacramento injury report. So we're going to look into this game here. We'll look at the head-to-head. That's Dallas Sacramento. We're going to look into that. Look at this, the history of this game. So they did play once already. They played December 30th last year in Sacramento. Sacramento was minus 8-point favorites, and the total was 223.5. Sacramento won 110-100 and went under 223.5. Now Sacramento last 10 games are 4-6 last 10, 2-8 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. 2-3 last 5 games Sacramento, and are 4-1 to the over. So Sacramento's a dog here. So they covered at Minnesota. They didn't cover at OKC. So when they were an underdog, they did cover at Minnesota. They covered at New York. Actually, they didn't cover at New York. They didn't cover there. Sacramento's out. They lack a bit of consistency. They haven't been consistent like before. So they're sort of falling off a little bit so far from what I'm seeing. Defensively, at least, I know they are. On the Dallas side, 5-5 last 10 to 6-3 against the spread. 6-3-1 against the spread. 8-2 to the over. Dallas has won 2 straight games. They're 2-3 last 5 games, and are 3-2 to the over as well. Dallas 1.5-point favorites. I'm sorry. Yeah, Dallas 1.5-point favorites. Yeah. Yeah, the only way I can look is the over. Over 237. I think that's what we saw here. 237.5. Let's look at this one. Yeah, 237.5 over. Yeah, over is the way to go in this game. Sides, I mean the total, nothing. I mean, sorry, the spread or the sides, nothing there at all. I don't see anything that's appealing to me. Next game we're going to look at is Portland and Denver. Denver. Portland is minus 8. They're minus 8-point favorites. Total 233.5. Right now, we're looking at minus 9.5. It's come to 9.5, and the total is, the best one is, let's see. We're going to say 233. Yeah, we'll say I'll say 233. It's the majority is 233 right now. We're seeing some 233.5, but the majority is 233 minus 9. I'll say that. That's the majority. So the public's on Portland here, plus the 9. Public's on Portland. I can see why. I can see that a little bit. It's going up to 9.5 now. It has gone up a bit, and the total's 233, like we mentioned, 233.5. So that's the total hasn't really moved. It's been 233, 232.5, 232. So we'll look into this. We'll look at the injury report first. Get the breakdown for the injuries in this game. And we're going to start off on the Denver side with the Denver Nuggets. Look at their injury report. Michael Porter Jr. has a hamstring injury. Let's see his status right now. Let's see. Porter Jr., let's look at him. Yeah, so Porter Jr. is questionable to play Monday. He's 50-50. Westbrook is out indefinitely, still has a hamstring issue. Peyton Watson out indefinitely. Volcalco Kankar is out. And for the Portland side, for the Blazers, Portland, Matisse Thybulle is out indefinitely. So look into this one further. That's Denver, Portland. They did play before. Let's check. Portland, Denver. Yeah, they played once already. December 19th. So they played already. This one was in Portland. And Denver was an 8-point favorite. Total was 235 at that time. And Portland covered the spread at 8, +8. And they won the game, actually, 126-124, and they went over. So this is a revenge spot for Denver. They're in a revenge spot situation. Overall, Portland last 10 games 8-2 overall in their last 10 against other opposition. They had that, I think, 8-game winning streak, and they got snapped at Minnesota. So this is the final game of the road trip so far. They're 0-1 on the road trip. And they're 2-3 to the under. Portland. On the Denver side, 7-3 last 10, 5-5 against the spread, 5-5 over under. Denver has won 6 straight games. They're quietly playing well. 3 of the 6 wins have been on the road. The other 3 have been at home. So they've been playing pretty solid. They played twice against the Pelicans. Covered Orlando. They won at Phoenix. They always beat Phoenix. Denver always has their number all the time. Denver's been good at home. They've been covering at home. Let's see. And then the total, they're 1-5 to the under. Denver 1-5 to the under. Portland 2-3 to the under. So both teams playing to the under. This is interesting. This is interesting. This is an interesting one. Portland's played Denver pretty well in the past. Portland's been an underdog in Denver, and they've covered the spread in Denver. They've done pretty well in Denver, from what I'm seeing. They have played well in there. Let me look at this further here. Now this is an interesting game here. This is a home and home series. Denver, Portland's at home and home. This game here is the first meaning. This is going to be in Denver the Monday. Then Wednesday they're playing back in Portland. So this is an interesting game. Yeah. So this is a home and home series. This is definitely a home and home series. It's 9 right now. I'm gonna take Portland plus the points. I like Portland here. I'm going to take Portland plus the 9. I'm going to take Portland here. I like the Blazers here in this spot. I think they covered the... it's at 9.5 now, yeah. If it's at 9.5, even better. I'll take plus 9.5 Portland. I don't have a play on the total. The total, the total... Let me look. Yeah, the total, I'm going to pass on the total. I don't have anything there. I just like Portland plus the 9. If you can get 9.5, even better. 9.5, even better. I would take Portland here. Utah and the Lakers were going to pass on that game. I have no interest in that game whatsoever. That's going to be a complete pass for me. But that's it, though. That's all the plays for the NBA Beat the Number. Again, thank you for joining me. Whether you fear or follow my picks, it's up to you. I just choose the picks and make the picks how I see them fit and what I like. Again, good luck to you. I hope you, whatever you do, I hope you cash your tickets, whatever you do. Later on this afternoon, again, I'm going to be back here to give you the NBA player props. And I might throw in one or two games that I didn't touch upon this morning that I might have a play on. We'll see. Might throw in a total, maybe a first half total. I might give that away. But for sure, player props and some other plays for sure this afternoon. All right, so if you're interested in some player props, tune in this afternoon. I'll have a video on that. Until then, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so we can provide you with some of these plays, picks, spot picks on the spread, spot picks on the over-unders, as we try to beat the betting markets in the NBA. Okay, thank you for tuning in to the NBA Morning Edition. My name is Abby. Again, stay true to yourself, stay blessed, believe in yourself. Peace. See you later on.